Hello, 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 and welcome to another Daily Code Fun. I am One Lion. We've been having a lot of fun on the stream lately, working on some design. I call it fun. Uh, kind of settled on a design. Not really happy with the colors that we picked, or I picked, so we will be tweaking it as we go along. But for now, hello, Zulius. Here is what we came up with so far. Whew. I made myself ran out of breath because I ran upstairs too. I needed to restart my computer because my audio was doing some weird stuff. So then I ran upstairs to get some water while it was restarting, got everything up and running, and yeah, here we are. So I had a few thoughts for how to do the layout for the main landing page. And it kind of looks like this. I don't know if that's like the final. I'm kind of seeing something up here. It needs to be this color. It has like the site information, and then instead of this thing saying Finanman tracking system, that's just going to be up in the title bar with maybe an about with I don't know what else could be up there. I don't really know what things other than login and about really go up at the top. But anyway, we're gonna continue on. I said we're gonna do some actual coding today, and I mean it because I want to see what this looks like in the app. Another thing that I wanted to do was maybe like see what some of these colors look like in place of that orange, because the orange really looks Halloween-y. I said weenie. Sorry. I'm trying to get everything pixel perfect. Why? I don't know. It's not gonna be. Ever. One more. That goes. It's pixel perfect. Okay. We're gonna try this as our highlight color. Nope, not that one. Where is this other orange that I'm using for the shadow? Must be on the actual tab. Drop shadow. Drop shadow. This one. Okay, so I like that much better, and maybe I can still keep the orange on this active. Maybe I can make the blue a little bit darker, because I still kind of want to give it this neon effect. Oh, that's not which one has the effect. What the effect? Is it the card? The card. Card has the drop shadow. Okay. Yeah, that feels cleaner to me. Much cleaner. And not so Halloween-y. So we're going to go with this for now. I just wanted to try it and it looks better to me. I'm sure we're going to tweak it still some more as we go along, especially with how green this still looks to me. But I think it's just this monitor. Like this monitor's settings matches this monitor settings, and they're both the same brand and make and model and size and everything, but they still end up looking different. Okay, so anyway, let's settle with that. Does anyone like this? Any exciting stuff from Maui Day? The coolest thing that I think I saw that probably has nothing to do with Maui was when Mads Torgerson was talking about the required I don't know what they're called. So modifier. I think they're called modifiers. The required modifier on properties. I thought that that looked awesome. Let me show you what I mean. Well, I mean, I won't be able to show you what I mean because that was internal preview. So you know how you can have public, abstract, static, internal, protected, private. So the accessibility modifier, the async, static, abstract. So that was cool. It was pretty much everything that Mad showed for the C# language. It just looked so cool. Another one was having abstract interface members. It's like, what? I could definitely see where I would use it. Another one, well, yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Abstract interface members? Yeah, they do. Let me see if I can find that one, because that one was really, really interesting to find out what he's talking about. .net videos. Mads. Why don't I see him? They're like, he's just talking about the C# language. That's not Maui specific. Okay, we'll just watch it on the playback. There he is. Oh. So I'm not the biggest fan of whatever type of string this new one is called. I understand the use case for it, but there's the required. Oh yeah, and it was because of this iNumber thing. That was really cool too. And iParsable. This was the whole reason for abstract, putting the abstract modifier on interface members. And the whole reason is to say, yeah, I'm actually not 100% sure what exactly the whole reason was because I wasn't fully paying attention to this part. But then I realized that Mads was talking, but I think we were still in the stream. No, this was later on in the day. But yeah, if you want to hear what he has to say about it, here is the link. And I would be interested to hearing this to hear this again, but later, off stream. So yeah, all of the stuff that Mads was talking about, except for that string. Like I remember seeing Nick talk about it, Nick Chopsis, on one of his videos. I think it was Nick, and I was like, I still am not the biggest fan of that. Static virtual interface members. That's a great link. So let's put this in Discord so I don't lose it. I'm not going to read it now, but this is a great reference. Thank you, Julius. An interesting topic, I think. Mads Tor, how do you spell his name? Torgerson, Torger, I think. Torgerson showed during the Maui.NET Conf. Focus on Maui. This is really for myself, so I can read through it. Cool. Okay, so I'm definitely going to take a look at this and find out what the benefits of having static abstract interface members is. Because I'm often making both a interface and then having a base abstract class implement that interface and then have a whole bunch of things just inherit from that abstract class so that I don't have to redefine the members over and over. But yeah, so what I'm trying to get at is here's our design for this project. Tyron came back. He said he was going to be back. Actually abstract or just a base class? Actually abstract. So I normally have an interface that has some members, and I would implement those members with just regular full prop get set, and then have virtual methods that I need to override or abstract methods that I need to implement. Tyron is telling me what it is now. I'll definitely look at it, but he says, so now you can have your interfaces force a static method on the concrete type. Oh. So it's not abstract by itself, it's static abstract specifically, which means that when you implement that interface, you must have a static method that matches that static abstract member. That's cool. Yeah, because I've been normally putting all of my interface static members on the interface, and so you have to do I blah dot whatever. So interface class dot static method. But now you can do whatever your implementing class is dot static method, and it'll know to use that concrete class's implementation of that static method. Yes, yes. Oh, that's going to change a lot of things for me. Not a lot. It's going to make some things better for me. Let's just hope that I remember it if ever we come and need to do that. hopefully we'll explore a lot of those new language features. But first we need to get the language features. I also wasn't paying attention to what version of C# that is. Like, is it going to be released with the next version of C# Lang, or is it going to be released with .NET 7? So I'll need to go back and listen to that as well. So let's implement this. Let's do it. Y'all, we gonna do this. Ooh, I saw something else that I want to design, but we're gonna try putting this on the page now. So burn this image into your head because we are going to make the landing page. C# 11 and .NET 7 include static virtual members and interfaces. Dang, you guys are so helpful and so cool. Thank you so much for giving me the information. I promised that I was planning on reading it after the stream. Such the very helpful though. And hello, Goku Jax. Also, the other thing that I started doing because I'm trying to do too much and overwhelm myself is I downloaded all of the videos that I posted to YouTube. Yes, the videos that I posted to YouTube that don't have the music on them. Speaking of, and I started editing them, and it was really, really cool because I'm using Descript as my initial editor, and what Descript does for me, so it's this application called Descript, and I'll just show it really quick. As for me, oh right, I have to wait for the project to load, and it's probably going to destroy my audio. I don't want to destroy my remember. Anyway, it's loading currently. Once it loads, I'll show it. Oh, it loaded. Okay, so I pulled in all of the videos, and I started with the first video, of course, and I hit transcribe, and it essentially, not now, turned all of my spoken word into what would essentially be closed captions. It detects all of my filler words for me and lets me know how many times I say But the coolest thing about this, I'll move this in a second, is as I'm going through this, and you guys can't hear that, okay. So if I find something that has a really long pause, like be able to, then I can reduce the pause in between those words. And it'll adjust the video, it'll adjust the audio and sync everything up. Yeah, that's a lot of pauses. So I would keep reducing the amount of pauses in between those words. And then there are times when I'm just like, you know what? That entire section was either me BSing with you guys or going in some direction that I eventually turned back on and didn't end up doing. So then I just delete that entire section of text. And it's so freaking cool that I can do that. Because that means that, like up here when I was typing out all of the stuff, you can see all of these cuts that I made where I rewrote the same line about 4 times and said the same thing about 4 or 5 times, but in different ways. And so I just have the one ending thing and the video gets clipped, and it's pretty smooth. It's a pretty smooth clip. It's not too jarring, at least from what I've seen so far. And then if there are Um, yeah, you know. That you know phrase. Oh, I can't believe that I said that. I hate the you know phrase. Because no, you don't know. So I'm just going to get rid of both of them. It is really harder. Did I really say that? Oh, it really is harder. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's been kind of fun, but the problem is what I'm picturing happening is I will spend the time to clean up the video here, and then I'll try to take it into something like Adobe Premiere or some other actual video editing tool so that I can add music. Um, and it's just going to be a lot of work per video. So maybe I will be okay with giving myself a week per video and then release the official video into a playlist 1 week at a time instead of what I've been doing with posting the streams daily. But I mean, I'll still post the streams daily. They'll just go into an actual live coding playlist, and then the actual videos themselves will get posted to the project playlist. So I'll just rename the current project playlist to the. Would you save already? The current project playlist to. I'll rename that to live streams or something. Where are we? What's going on? Why is this empty? Why hasn't anyone made my CSS for me yet? Oh my gosh. All right, we have our landing page, which currently looks like this. CD Finance Man Blazor server .NET stare. Looks like the thing sometimes has trouble parsing words. It has a lot, but then there are a lot of times that I play with words too much. So, I mean, it's like I actually said he very ounces because that's what I typed. And I was making fun of what I typed. But it does a pretty good job. Um, don't know if you know the Hello F Happy Wednesday is Hump Day. Kind of hard to do. Debits crew red. Users to track recurring debits crew red. And it's probably because I said a crew red, like I was that hello F happy hump day. What is he saying? He's saying, oh wow. Don't know if you know that. Hello Thindle is what I said. Like super fast. Don't know if you know that. Hello Thindle. Like I'm always interrupting myself. So how am I supposed to be able to completely clean this up? Oh, I just need to stop saying random things. Hopefully that'll help me in the long run with not constantly saying random things. Oh man, look at this beautiful page. Screw this. I think this is our landing page. I didn't need to do anything anyway. This is perfect. I need this over here. Right. I need this over here. Smata. This flame wears on. Hello, Swimwear. I hope you're doing well. Swimwear is killing some people. He always has this stank face when he's playing first-person shooters. Make the background flash. Right, we were going to use a lot of blink. So home, for example, we were going to surround this in a blink. And we're going to have a hit counter. Gotta have the hit counter. The little, and it's got to look like an odometer. With the animation and everything. It looks better than anything I've ever designed. Silly, you're so mean to yourself. Give yourself some credit. I'm sure that you've done some pretty good stuff that you are proud of, and you know it. You don't need to be humble here. You are allowed to gloat. Website design in 1996. That's where I am stuck, though. I'm telling you, I try really hard to be modern, and I end up making something that's still like color schemes from the 90s or early ooze. But I'm trying. I am actively trying and learning and gaining some new techniques. There was actually a statement in, not a statement, a segment in the .NET Conf Focus on Maui of one of the presenters showing the skills at getting better at design. And actually, there is a design challenge for the .NET Conf, which was really interesting to me. But anyway, enough of that. Let's continue on Ferd. So let's structure our landing page. The problem is, man, I wish that I had a better way of being able to toggle back and forth between this and the app. The problem with this is I'm thinking that this top bar is going to be consistent throughout the app. So I might actually have a nav menu across the top for the entire app the whole time. But that didn't carry over to the actual payment entry page, so I don't know what that would look like on this page. So let's add it. Ooh. Oh, right. You were supposed to be, nope, not a scroll bar. And you went in somewhere down here. Tab content, line items list. Okay, so that was supposed to be part of this, to have a scroll bar in there, but I need to move everything on this page except for the very bottom. So tab, tab, except for the bottom, down. Baby, are you down, 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 down? Hello, Thindle, which apparently sounds like hello, F. So let's grab that, duplicate you, put you down into this page. Nope, the actual page, please. which is the same color as the background, so we're not going to see a difference. So then what? Is it supposed to be darker? So then I need that actual color, please, because I need to reuse that color in other places. Here we go. Such as in here. Yeah, so again, I really need to figure out what content goes up there. But for now, I'm just going to make a, whatever that's called, a div in my main layout to go across the top. And that is going to be my top bar for the entire app. Div class equals top bar. And we're going to put in das top bar component because we're going to have a top bar component. Oh man, I love writing code. Thindle says to Tyron, we designed things in 1996. Even professional big sites look like they were made by a 12-year-old, which is not really saying that much because I know a few 12-year-olds that are super duper talented. Qualify your statement, man. No, it is not. Actually, you know what? Maybe. So I never thought that I would be thinking in this way. Like when Blazor first came out, there was a lot of you're adding a button, and when you're adding a button, you're also going to, well, I'm going to do all of my standard stuff. You're also going to have an on-click handler, and you're going to hook it up to some function. And so I know that this button is going to be the OK button. So I'm going to say handle OK clicked. I never thought that I would be making the method name in the handler before going into the code block or the code behind, depending on where you're putting it, and making the handler itself. So like my approach would have been, let's create all of the actual functions and handlers that we need first, and then go up and fill in the event callbacks. But I almost always do the event callback first and then create the method stub. It's so crazy. Never would have thunk. You know what? This is actually going to go inside of here because I want to have this in a wrapper in case I have any subcomponents. Then I can target them using : deep using isolated. Makes sense actually. But yeah, that's kind of the same as not really. I was trying to parallel it to TDD, where you are creating the thing that should work, but it should error until you create the thing that works. Here. You should make the old web WinForms helper where you write a function name in onClick, then hit tab, and it creates a stub. Extension time. So that is a thing-ish. Like Visual Studio will do that for you now, just not in Razor pages. It's so sad. It's so very sad. Because like if I was in code behind, which I won't need code behind for this thing, so I don't want to create a file. If I was in a C# class, that's CSS, nice try. If I was in a C# class, and I had some kind of event. And I started to do my event plus gets, then I can just hit tab and it'll create the method stub for me. But that doesn't work in Blazor files. At least it hasn't for me so far. But that would be beautiful to see happening when you do button, one click, and then give me that option to just hit tab and you'll create the method step for me. But I think it could be, excuse me, my nose almost exploded. I think it could be that you have the option of having either a code block or code behind or combination of in one Razor file that it wouldn't know where you would want to put it. And they might not want to make that assumption. For an ASP button, yeah. But for this, it's definitely on click, on clink. Yeah, unless it actually does it for JavaScript. It does not. It does not. But it would be a really nice thing because I find myself wanting that very often, especially when you're using someone else's component and you don't really know what the signature should be. So like, let's say this was a button or just this was something that you don't use on before copy. And you want the entire event args or whatever the structure is to be created in your method stub. But you don't know what that is, and you get an error for some reason because it doesn't allow you to have an empty method, empty parameters list, even though all of these generally do. But like you wouldn't know it needs to be an event args or something. And actually, did that give us an error? It kind of looked like it was giving us an error. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it's a thing. It would be nice to have it just work for us. Top bar. Top bar is just going to be that. A top bar with no content inside of it. With that in mind, I would like to get started on our structure for where we're going to put the layout, CSS, and such, which is just going to be up here. Okay. So here is our SAS folder because we're going to have a lot of SAS. And we're going to have a SAS file that's going to be our primary site SAS called app.sas. And that is going to get compiled using web compiler, Sunkit. And it's going to get compiled to www.root/css/app.css. Save. And we will now see CSS app.css. Like a magic min. Yay. Get rid of this file because I don't want you there. And so this thing is going to be the consolidation of _root. So the first thing it imports is root. And root is going to have all of our CSS variables defined because that's how we are going to be doing our theming. We're also going to have CSS colors, or Sass variables that will be our colors. So I like to have a color variables partial with some extreme double typing. Thindle is saying, hey, here's a question I should look up instead of asking. If you have a model object on the page instead and bind model.myValue instead of a local variable myValue, will it pick up changes on it? Yes. Yes, it will. How's that for an answer? Are you satisfied? One word answers are awesome. I'm not very good at them. I always want to elaborate. But the answer is yes. In most cases, in the cases that I have come across, as long as the model exists on the page and the value is being manipulated by something on the page, so you could have a state class and you're injecting that state class into your Razor component, then you make a change to one of the properties in that state class, then it will not. You will have to tell it to re-render by using something like iNotify property change. Yep, that one. But that's because you are manipulating the object from outside. But if you're creating a new instance of the object from within the component, then definitely. Definitive absolute, this is yes. What other Sass files do I like to use? I like to have a global styles. And what this thing does for us is it gives us stuff that we can use to style every single one of this particular type of thing. So I can't think of any good examples. And actually, I might not even use this anymore. We'll find out. But here are the important ones. We need some isolated CSS files. We're going to start with the main layout. Shift F2. Main layout.scss. You'll notice that I am not making this a partial. And partials, you can know a thing is a partial when it starts with an underscore. And those are usually used in combination with other Sass files. So our main layout is going to be compiled as well to shared main layout.razor.css. Yeah, I need to stop saying things weirdly because I'm thinking about what the actual transcript is gonna pick up when I say things. That's hard. Anyway, get rid of this. Now you can see our main layout.razor.css has a CSS file generated. Why doesn't this say that it's generated? That's odd. Recompile, please. There. Probably because there were no changes, and so it didn't actually generate a new app.css. Because when it compared them, they were the same. Yes? Yes. Okay, the other one was this top bar. So I'm just going to duplicate that, call you top bar, and nav menu. Although I don't think I'm going to have a nav menu. Good question. What happens if we put .razor? So I like having all of my SAS files in one place, but oops. But if I put it here, I don't know what the implications are. It'll still work. So for example, if I added a rule for top bar. So let's say that this actually, this would just be the page, not the page. What do I call? I do call it page. Well, not me. It gets called page by default. So page is display grid with grid template rows, auto one free space, height 100 VH, width 100 VW, overflow auto. Okay, so I create all of these rules inside of the .sas file, and that will get generated just fine. Yeah, if you'd like to keep the CSS with the component. So for me, I prefer having my SAS files in a separate folder. But you know what? Per your suggestion, we'll try it out. I'm kind of interested to see whether I like it or not. But only kind of interested. Don't you be confused about this being very interested. Var, Blazor, CSS. Why not? Nav menu, Blazor, SAS. Because normally when you're modifying SAS files, you're also manipulating the component that they belong with. They wouldn't nest because they don't follow the same naming convention. So the reason that min nests under .css is because they both, well, I don't know, there's just some rule that says that they should. I could manually say nest, nest, nest. No, because I didn't install the file nesting extension. Wait, where it is? I could have sworn that was a file nesting extension. Of course it does. Because that's what you do, Thindle. You say, let's look at this thing over here. Oh, I'm distracting you. You pride yourself on that, don't you? Don't you? I thought it was interesting. I thought it was worth my time. So I'm not worried about it. And I like saying sorry a lot too. I wouldn't have gone down that route if I didn't think that I would want to try it out. And I am trying it out. Just to try it out. Yeah, menu. Kind of like the same reason why you guys are here. You decided to come here on your own volition. Not because I'm somehow manipulating you or using my siren song. Scratchy, scratchy, scratchy. You don't have a single bad trait in you, Thindle. In fact, you only have good traits. You don't even have just neutral traits. So one of your best traits is this right here. Wanting to help me out. Look at this. Look at this. Guys, if you don't know what this is an amazing extension, an amazing tool for streamers, for anyone that is presenting and they don't want to accidentally share their secrets. It's called No Dox. Don't dox yourself. And if you look it up in the extension store, you'll see it was created by none other than Thindle, who is here in chat. It's so cool. It's such a good extension. He the funny story, he talked about this 2 days after I doxed myself for the very first time. And he wasn't even on my stream when I did that. It just so happened that he created this tool and he's like, you should try this tool. And I'm like, that's a pretty neat tool. I absolutely needed that 2 days ago. But he didn't even know about it. It was just yeah. So anyway, I have a tool now for not doxing myself. Absolutely, Thindle. So Thindle wanted to know if we want to hear something that's really freaking awesome. Definitely do. I added a config file from an actual project to a unit test for Nodox and committed it and pushed it to GitHub. And that's not a full water bottle. This is a full water bottle. I will read it all out once you're done typing, but this sounds like it's going to be mind-blowing. Oh no, wait. No, I don't want to read that. That's sad. So Thindle said, I added a config file from an actual project to a unit test for Nodox and committed it and pushed it to GitHub. It contained keys for Azure Blob Storage, SendGrid, and Mailjet. So I very, very, very much doxed myself and my resource keys in a project called Nodox. There, done. I thought you were going to say that the GitHub, I can't think of what it's called. GitHub check-in protection. Is it really just called GitHub Advanced Security? I thought that there was a name. The oh my god, you're an idiot bot? Yeah, that one. I got like 500 emails from them after 30 seconds. Better rename it to Yes Doc so it makes sense. Oh, Ron. Yeah, but I thought that it would like, I don't know. I guess there are two things that I thought it could be doing. One is it would just prevent the commit until you actively said, yes, I want to commit this, or two, it would have held the file in question for you to review it. Code scan. Yeah, so like after you commit it to GitHub, that it does a scan on all the files, says, this looks like a key. I'm going to hold this from your commit and not check it in until you push a button that says, yeah, I actually meant to commit. All right. Anyway, let's style this thing. Our main layout, I already started on, is going to, yeah, that felt intuitive. Knowing that I can find my SAS file with the actual main layout. And if I ever had trouble getting to it, I could just go to the actual page itself and then expand it, kind of thing. Okay, right. So one of the things that I actually need, oh wow, a grayscale color scheme. That's what I need. Actually, it's not a grayscale color scheme. What does this even look like? Whoa. Words I had never even known. We have primary, secondary, tertiary. Those are the ones that I really know. Quaternary, I would be able to figure out. Quinary, I would be able to figure out. Centary, probably not. Septary, probably not. Octonary, nonary, denary, duodenary, tridentary, quaternary. Oh man, it just keeps going. Anyway, no, that's not that's not what belongs here anyway. Actually, it is, but not yet. The first thing that I want is our top bar height, 3.3 rems usually. And the reason that I want that is because in my main layout for my grid, I actually want this to be auto still, but I would like for, my bad, the top bar. Star airy. Hey, Copilot, what do you think of this? Nothing. Top bar. What? What? Why was that in my clipboard? Why was shared in my clipboard? I don't remember copying shared. Um, I thought that I copied height, bar, top bar, height, height. Okay. The other thing that we need with the top bar is background color, which is going to be var background color. So now we need to start adding a couple colors. And this was going to be, what is the syntax? Hash dollar sign? Yeah. Um, juice. I don't have names for these. Um, yeah, I don't want to name these yet. I'm going to turn them into SAS variables later. And the reason I like to have these as SAS variables as well as CSS variables, when I'm using the SAS variable here, I could do something like, so let's say that I had a black 2, because black 1 would obviously be 0. Black 1. Okay, let's say that I wanted a variant on black 2 stay. Then I could do RGB to hex, which would be a function. How do you do functions? Or hex to RGB. That's what I meant to say. Can you create this for me? IntelliCode? Copilot? Anyone? That does not look right at all. But anyway, let's say that I had a hex to RGB function. Then I could do hex to RGB, and this would be RGBA, hex to RGB 0.3. So now I'm adding an opacity to that color. But I can't think of anything ever. I would have to copy my code from elsewhere to be able to do that. So for now, I'm just going to put the color as a hash color. Text color is going to be our primary text color. So yeah, this is an instance where my CSS variable would be great because primary text color is going to be F0, F3, F0. And so I would want my top bar text color to be my primary text color. So it's kind of just an alias for primary text color unless I decided to change it to something else, say in a theme. Ooh, deja vu. So I remember repeating myself and then making the statement that I was about to make, which is, it's smart thinking when you repeat the same word over and over at the start of a sentence or in the middle of a sentence. You know that someone is smart when they are talking and they need to repeat a word a few times between what they're trying to tell you because that makes it just so 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 much more important. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I have no idea. Anyway, top bar sass, top bar background color, color bar, top bar text color. Is that what I called it? Top bar text color? It is. Sure, why not? Display flex. Full width, please. Did we need to rebuild? Yeah, we did. Oh, right. And even something else that I noticed is when you add code behind CSS files, not code behind, isolated CSS files, even if you rebuild using the root edit, yes, I want to rebuild, it still doesn't quite apply it. So the CSS for this is taking effect. Oh, never mind. Never mind. How comes survey message is still allowed to live? Because it bothers people. No, I didn't even notice it. I'm sorry. I don't mind taking their surveys, just not while I'm streaming. Maybe they'll ask me again. So the thing that I forgot, it looks like it applied the isolated CSS. There goes that repeating words again. But I forgot to add my Blazor web. www.root and pages underscore layout, the app.css from underscore content slash man Blazor UI And also, that's where my favicon lives. Do I have that? No. And I like having this first. So you are shortcut icon, fave icon, type, image icon, save, cake. So I would like for you to also be in index. Wait, it is an index. Oh, not the one from my Blazor class library. Are we good now? Yay, we have a top bar. So this is what my global styles is for. Body and HTML are going to have a margin of 0, heading 0, box sizing, border box. Hello, hello. Yes, we did play Boise. It's really hard to say your name. Just thought you'd like to know. Definitely watched, at least had it going the whole time. I was streaming from 10:15 and then I had a meeting at 12:30 and then I was kind of tuning in and out throughout the day, but I did catch quite a bit of it. Did you watch it? And I was also able to get Visual Studio updated as soon as Julius was like, "Hey, hey, hey, it's available." Because I was trying to check it constantly during the stream, but I had help. All right. 3.3 is a little tall, don't you think? We'll find out when we add the stuff to it. Okay, so this place has a div class hero. I can be your hero, baby. I will take away your page. My page? During the 8-hour conference, they introduced Maui a lot of times. Hello, Scott. They did that. I was kind of, well, I knew what to expect. It was to get the word out that Maui is a thing, and for everyone that was waiting for the tools to be released in Visual Studio, you can start making Maui apps. Even though you could have started making Maui apps in preview when it went GA, and you would have been okay, because that meant that it would be officially supported and the apps that you make are going to be supported already in support and will be supported. But there's still people that are like, I don't want to use preview anything ever, which is completely understandable. So they're just like, if you haven't gotten into it yet, this is Maui. This is what it's like. It's great. Use it. We're going to have a hero. I'm not the best at making heroes, by the way. And do I or do I not want the login form to be part of my hero section? I think I want it to be outside. Here's what our design looks like. Dude, I alt-tabbed to the design. So it's inside of the section. Oh yeah. And the other thing that I want to do up front, by the way, before I get too far into this, is setting up the localization or preparing it for localization. So when I create content on the page, I want it to be localizable. But yeah, Scott is saying, I personally think it was a bad decision to announce GA for Maui when tooling still wasn't finished. It's finished now, which is great. I don't know. I adopted it as soon as they said, well, actually, I was going to use it even if it was in preview for my job because I knew that it would be released soon ish. And it just happened to be released the week that I started my job. And the tooling in preview wasn't terrible, the experience. There were some things that could be better. But yeah. Okay. I'm just going to put it inside. So, two things that I want to remember: setting up the iLocalization stuff, and yeah, I'm looking for any opinionated opinions about where to put your resource files for using the iLocalizer. So what I currently have in my approach is a separate library. Yeah, so what I've been doing lately as I'm adapting to working on a team is I've created a separate class library called interfaces. Not that this is going to be important for the localizer. I created a separate localizer interface for the other project because they already had a localization implementation and an interface called iLocalizer. Yeah, a whole library. And so, Scott, the reason that I'm doing this in the other project is my current role is designer developer, UI developer, we'll call it that, where I'm creating the Razor class library for the modernization effort for this application. And so if I have an interfaces class or interfaces class library with all of my service interfaces that are needed to perform the operations in the components, as well as the state interfaces. So if I have any components that need to handle state, then I have my own implementation of those, but they could implement their own version when they start plugging in the current functionality, the functionality of the current app. So one of the major ones is testing, and not in the sense of testing library kind of thing or testing logic, but performing actual tests, like on hardware, on software, blah 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 blah. So since they already have something that can perform these tests, they have implemented classes, what I'm doing is I'm taking a look at their implementations and I'm creating an interface for those and then mocking those in my project. So all of my main functionality is just mocked stuff. And then they can just swap theirs out. Swap out my mock for their actual implementations. Okay, but anyway, I don't need to do that for the localizer in this app because we are just going to use the built-in localization. Not built-in, but Microsoft provided. And that is extensions localization. This would need to go in this provides the interface for it. So I may as well put it in the interfaces project. Catastrophic failure. So what I did is I referenced the interfaces project from shared so that in shared, is that where I want to do it? I'm going to have my extensions folder with service extensions. This is going to be a static class so that I can do public static iService collection. The answer is yes, Dukasoft. Did someone say shared coffee? You better believe it. Community coffee for everyone. Setup localization. So I can't use add localization because that is the actual extension method I'll be using from the Microsoft.extensions.localization. So what I would really like to do instead is add localization services. This iService collection services. And yes, except no MVC. And actually, I should just be able to return this. So this is the configuration that I was about to use, except that I want to put it in another subfolder inside of resources called localization, because every project, if I'm not using the assembly compiler hint, every project is going to have its own resources folder. And when we move this over to Maui, that's going to have its own resources, and then having a whole bunch of regex files and stuff inside of there, not a good idea. So I would have it organized in a folder called resources/localization. That said, let's see how to use this. Why can't I use the same name? Because I have a feeling that it's going to try to recurse on itself. Well, no, because I have specified options. If I didn't specify the options, then it would be like I have a conflict because add localization appears here and in Microsoft.extension. Why can't I? Oh, okay. So let's say that I did this. And then I went into program.cs for my client. And I said, builder, services, add localization. Then I want this to be my extension, add localization. Because I don't want to write in here options, arrows, options, dot. resource path equals resources localization, just to go into my next one, which is my server version, and pasta u there too. And then when we create the Maui project, have to do this same one there. Instead, I would like this to be defined in one place, the options for it, in case there's any extra options that I want to add to it later. I don't know what other options I would add, but you know, in case. Because I would want this to be add localization from shared extensions. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to call this add localization service. I'm going to go over her, call you add localization service. I'm going to go over her, call you add localization service. And what happened to all of the and if you add a using for your shared extensions, I don't actually know how to call a static method. So if I did using my add localization, or just add localization, I guess, equals Microsoft, not dependency injection. Is it in the dependency injection namespace? I thought it was in localization namespace. Yeah, I don't know how to add, make this be a static method that I'm calling, unless I did something like my extensions using man shared extensions. So if I just did a regular using then, is what you said, and I went here and I told this thing, let's just call you add localization service. Yeah, then this would be how I would have to write it, which is not what I want to do. So was I anywhere close to maybe what you were talking about? Because I wouldn't be able to go builder.services.add localization because now there are conflicts. There is the add localization from Microsoft.extensions.dependency injection and the one from my shared extensions. So it's not that it's choosing the wrong one, it's just there are two with the same signature. Yeah, even if it wasn't implicit usings, I'm using other things that use Microsoft.dependency, Microsoft.extensions.dependency. So if I turned off implicit usings, then I would still have an import here for using Microsoft.extensions.dependency injection. Okay, renamed. Make sure that it's the same in u.sys, and you need an imports. Peer 1 imports. Yeah, I see the static namespace example, but how does that work when it's an extension? Scott. Oh, so the naming would be better. Finan man localization. I do like that naming better. I'm terrible at naming things. Jigsaw says, I like that idea. Watashi mo, watashi mo. Okay, so because I want to do this from the start, then in our, what were we in? Main page, index.razor, in our UI somewhere. Hello. Whenever I put text on the screen, I would want, and for now I'm just going to use a code block until I find out if there's going to be extra logic in here. Excuse me. I will inject a I localizer, string localizer. And I want this to be the one that is specific. So you can have two different string localizers. You can have an iString localizer factory that you can then use to instantiate a new string localizer when you need it. And this would be for getting a typed localizer. Or you can have just the regular iString localizer, which will be the generic localizer for your entire application. Now, I don't know if this is the case. Can we have a string localizer of index? Yes, you can. Zulia says, obligatory. There are two hard problems in CS. Null references, naming things, and off by one errors. Yes, that must be said every single time. Must be. So I will call this my localizer. I hope I'm doing this right because, again, the approach that I took when I was working on the actual app is I have a separate interface that has its own get localized string, and then another method called get invariant string, so that regardless of the localization, it's going to use the same version of the text that I am trying to localize. Anyway, so because this is going to look for the localizer class, the localizer resource file named index in the project that this class is in, then I need a resources. And this is where I need help because, again, I'm learning this. Required, I don't think is available yet. I think that is supposed to be available. We looked it up earlier in C# 11.NET 7. Oh, it is C# 11. I'll check. I'll try it. But anyway, let me create this folder. Hello, Epic of Sam. Resources, localization. And this is going to be index. So the name of the class that we're doing the localization on, .resx. And we would do the entire path. So let's say I was doing it for my main layout. Then it would be resources localization shared main layout.resx. Or I could do localization shared dot main layout.resx if I wanted to. You only tried writing it. Awesome. Well, I definitely want to try it too. So I've been wanting to do this because I really am tired of putting default bang. The feature required members is currently in preview and unsupported. and required member index.localizer cannot be less visible or have a setter less visible than the containing type. Interesting. So I wouldn't be able to use this as a private iString. Interesting. Yeah, what if I have shared strings? So if I have, yeah, I was trying to get to that. When I have shared strings, so for example, what I am oft to do is I create enums like nobody's business. And for my enums, so let's say that I have my direction enum. And that is an enum that has up, down, left, right, previous, next, first. I'm just making this up. Last. Hello, Science Stream. And I put on here the display attribute name upwards. I wouldn't be putting upwards in here anymore. So I usually also create an overload, or not an overload, a extension method for all enums. No idea what that word was. That says public static t enum get display name, where t is enum, or capital enum, I think it needs to be. This t enum file. No? Oh, because you aren't t enum, you're string. And you are t enum. No idea what I was doing, or what I am doing, or just anything ever. Anyway, this does the logic for getting the display attribute and then giving back the name property of that display attribute if it exists. Otherwise, it will default to val.toString. So for now, I'm just going to do return val.toString, localizer.toString. But it would do reflection magic to get the field that this is referring to and then the display attribute on that field and then give back name. So what I would do instead if I wanted to localize this is this would actually be my key in the resource resx file. And actually the way that I have been doing it, since it's shared across the entire application and it can be used either in the I don't know any good places, but in the Blazor UI, let's say I had multiple Blazor UI component libraries, or I don't know how I would split it up so that this thing would appear in multiple places, but I would do direction up enum, or not enum text, display text. And this is where I would define that. And so this thing would give me back direction up display text. And this is what would, if I were to use this directly, this is what would get printed out on the screen, but instead I would use it inside of my localizer. And I would do name of, except that I need a variable for this. No, I wouldn't be able to do it with name of. I would still have to do it as, oh yeah, direction dot get display name, which is supposed to say get display text, but whatever. So then the thing that gets put inside of here is the key for this. I don't know. Again, Tyron, you're asking me like I should know these things. And I kind of feel stupid that I don't, but this is my first foray into doing actual localization. So if there are techniques that I don't know about, like there is a resource type. Okay, so this resource type is actually a type, which means that I need to be creating resource localizer classes. No, it doesn't. Oh, that really sucks. There's a problem with this. I would need to be able to get index.razor in my shared project, and I can't because I don't have a reference from my UI project to shared. It's the opposite. I have a reference to shared from my UI project. But the resource type is also here in my component library. Because the resource type would be iLocalizer of index, right? Is that what the so I guess I don't know what the resource type is then. Because I've never used this before at all. And if there's just a completely different approach that I should be taking, I am absolutely open to that so that I can fix my other attempts. But then again, we said that this is the shared one. So because it's the shared one, it would just be iLocalizer of direction. Or actually just type of direction. Sorry. Duh. That's my mistake. I would have all of my localized strings for my shared stuff here in the shared project. So yeah, I'm still confused, a little bit confused. Yeah, so direction will be the resx. Actually, this would be in folder enums direction dot resx. And that's where we would have this thing here. Copy. Actually, we can just do it like this. New pasta. Delete this. Yeah. So I can tell you what I understand of it so far, but I can't tell you how it actually works fully. I did a lot of research on it, but apparently not enough. Okay, so now I need to qualify the resource type to resources. Do I need to fully qualify starting from finanman.shared? Because I thought that this generates a CS file. A g.cs file. Give me a sec. Build. The localization should be on the enum level. Yes, Thindle. Because if I was doing my normal approach, all of my enums would be used to either be in a dropdown or display as the title text of a button for what that button does functionally, or just something like that. So I have the display attribute on the actual enum value itself, so that when it prints out, it looks correct. So I can just iterate through enum dot get values of type direction. Did you build? Yeah, built okay. So does my resx file? I could have sworn that they get generated code. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. The thing that I'm wondering is when I put text in here in the name, I didn't though. But the yeah, that's just the same as me doing this. Find in man shared enums direction. Am I supposed to put the actual display text in here? And then the key goes somewhere else? Or is that supposed to be the key? It does generate a C# class for that. I thought so, but I haven't seen it. So like if this was longer text, upwards is the direction we go. Then am I supposed to make this the key itself in my dictionary? I've already lost it. Direction.resx. Hello? Did I somehow close it? But yeah, so in either case, the thing that's going in name is the key that I want to look up in the resource dictionary in that resx file. Is that correct? Okay, I believe that is correct. That's what he says. So that said, it's still pretty much exactly what I was doing. I just didn't know you could specify the resource file on it directly and just use the get display name, and you'll get back the localized version of it. So that's just one less step that I'll need. I just need to add this in there. So then that means in our index, I don't need localizer. I would just call get display name. And does that actually work? The answer is loading. No. I'm just gonna restart the app. I'm hoping that that's another thing. But my resource type is still wrong. So I don't know how to point it to this direction object because I wasn't able to find it in the namespace at all. So I started from fineanman shared. It's not in the enums namespace because enums is only inside of this folder. It would be inside of the resource namespace. Localization enums direction because it would follow the folder structure even if it was using a generator. I am just curious to see what happens. And actually, nothing is happening because I have a 404 and icon.ping. Blazor UI, www root. There is no icon.ping. Who's trying to ask for an icon.ping? You are. Just don't do it. Oh. Oh. Where did those go? For now, I'm going to ignore that. Wait, then that also breaks my service worker, doesn't it? Because there should be a manifest that says you're going to have an icon.ping in here. Jerk. Excuse me, can I see your history? Did I delete it like right away? Not migrations, not you, not you, not you. Wasm. Nope, I deleted it right away. Look at the props of my resix file. Should give you the namespace. Nope. It wouldn't be in my recycle bin if I delete it from Visual Studio. I don't think. I could be lying to you. You could be right. Scott. Recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. This is what's in my recycle bin. Oh, but yes, it does look like when I delete stuff, it goes into my recycle bin. Apparently, I emptied it out at some point in time. So thank you, Scott. I will keep that in mind. I will never empty my recycle bin again. What I'm going to do instead is add new project, Blazor WebAssembly, hold me with a capital O, progressive web app. Look. Look here. This is what I am trying to do. Why are there so many things expanded? You there. Gimme. You have served your purpose. You are dismissed. El Taco. Okay, we got a file back. Are you gonna run now? Yes, but it's not gonna take me to the main page still. It's probably because I don't have any classes in that interface project now. What am I even doing? Why am I trying to do any of this ever? Shift 2, services, service interfaces. I don't know. I don't know what services we're going to need. Payment entry service. Okay, now I have a class in there. Are you going to load? It is going to load. Yay. Hello, Memento. Hello, Mementos. Moment MC. Or it could be Mom Ent MC. Or it could be if I delete from Visual Studio, they go in my bin. Windows 11, right-click context menu. I disabled that in regedit. That's terrible. Moment Minecraft. Could be a lot of things. But it is Minecraft. Well, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Change to internal. There's an access modifier and it has no code generation. On what? On the resource file itself? On the properties? Watashi wa not seeing it. Oh, when you edit the file? No code generation internal. Oh, hello. Okay, so that should mean that we now have our shared resource localization enums direction. Egads. We actually don't need shared on that. Even more egads. Okay. So if this works, we're on the home page. My index is here. Nope, it's outputting. Oh, duh. It is outputting the right thing. Now I need to actually write the logic for this. Dang it. Hello, Zayla. It's been a million, billion, trillion, quintillion, fulfillion cheers. You. Can I get the method real quick? Because I can't think of it. I don't want to think of it. Oh, look. It's right here. Wow. It's a thing that I do often, if you couldn't tell. Wait a minute. I just do enum dot. Whatever. It should still work the same. Oh, except that I'm gonna lose that. Just give me the this. I promise I'm not ignoring you guys. I just realized that it's 12:25 already and I haven't done anything. 2 camel case, please. Look at all of those beautiful comments. Shut up, phone. I know. Okay. Go quickly. Go quickly. Save that. So this should give me the display attribute of. This should actually be display attribute. And we're getting the name property. And this is potentially null, apparently. And there we go. No green squigglies. We go here, scroll down. Didn't hot reload. No, still doesn't work. Should be called get display text. Stop and start. Come on. There it is. Oh, direction lowercase d. Oh, because I told it 2 camel case by default. So the cool thing about localization strings is if it can't find it in the resource file, then it just prints out whatever it is that you have as the key. Come on. Oh, I gotta rebuild. There it goes. Okay, so it still didn't look this up in the resource dictionary. Nope, that's because I changed this. Oh my goodness, this kid. Dang. Yeah, so I was expecting to see upwards print out. And we're seeing upwards direction we go, which is the thing that I have in the actual display text. And I was expecting it to use my localization file to get that name and then give back this value. I wonder if there's additional magic that happens on a display attribute that says, like we're supposed to manually create a new iLocalizer of resource type. And we would create a new localizer, or just localizer, somehow by using the oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. So there is some kind of thing that is done automatically in other project types that will use localization in there. This is a bit much. Get display name from resource. Okay, so get display name we can do. And then it's this get display name from resource part. So resource manager equals new resource manager. Yeah, so this is the next step that we would do, which is resource manager equals new resource manager right here. Using localizer resource type. I can't type. Which doesn't exist in my project. So I would have to find out where resource manager comes from. Probably system.resources. Yeah, there we go. And then I would do all of that. So for me, it doesn't make sense for me to want to do this when my approach is if I just put the member name up here, the sorry, not member name, the key, I'm calling them key value pairs. So the key is what this thing returns. And in my index.razor, I would use my global iString localizer, my shared iString localizer, to do localizer, look it up in the dictionary. This is much less code and for me much simpler to understand what it's doing. The problem is that now I need to know where exactly the resource file should be. So for me, that would be a direction localizer. And that should, in theory, print out upwards, just upwards. Hang. We'll explore this some more, but I gotta go. I gotta get back to work. But yeah, I do want to get this right. I want a good approach that we can establish as what we're going to do for this application, and hopefully I can use it as a pattern for all of my future projects. But right now, this is essentially what I'm doing, is I have a iLocalizer. No. I love this. I love exploring, Tyron. No need to apologize. I have an iLocalizer. And I found out that when I do this here, we should be able to do get a breakpoint and then inspect the direction localizer to find out where it's looking for to find the localized value. So it will tell me if it should be looking in resource localization enum's direction. And if it can't find it there, that's why we're getting back the display name. But it's completely okay. I'm gonna continue on with this. I like this approach, but this is what I'm doing and it works in my work product. It would have been nice to just use the extension method for get display text, which I think I still can. I don't know. Maybe I should continue looking at this. I think I should continue looking at this because I would love to just be able to put enum dot get display text or enum dot whatever my extension method is to get the localized version. Yeah, I like that. So I'll try that out today, actually, as I'm continuing on through my work, I will read up more on the things that I had open earlier. I'll reopen those tabs. And yeah, that's it for today. Join me again tomorrow where we will continue our localization efforts, or at least establishing a good pattern. The framework must have this in there somehow because that's how the form stuff works, right? I don't know if they ever do it on, well, I guess they do use the display attribute often, but as you saw, a lot of the form stuff has the HTML tag helpers. HTML helpers and tag helpers is what I meant to say. And I think that those helpers do the magic behind the scenes to get the resource manager and then do the localization value. But like this is awesome. If I can end up using it on my models too, and give it that resource type, and then be able to always be able to get back the localized value for that property. So let's say it's a whole bunch of product information, and um, yeah, there's a problem with that though. And it's pulling data from the database and it's stored in the database in one language, and then I could just find a way to use that as the key. But anyway, we'll find that out. We'll explore more tomorrow. I hope you guys come back. If you do, we're in for more localization fun. Hopefully we'll just get it established and done, and then we will move on to continuing to fill in the actual UI design, which currently looks like this. So we'll try to get this page sketched out and implemented. And it is coffee time, but I gotta wait until tomorrow morning. Boo. Anyway, I hope you guys have fun. I'll be hanging around in Discord and the community voice channel. That's it for me for now. See y'all later. Bye, Abitus. Thank you so much for lurking all the time. You're so cool.